Ready now, me ready now. A time to share, a time to care, a time to happy. But the whole year just winter party. Too much disguising on your love. I know I come tell the eye about Merry Christmas. Lord, you need to give a little. You get your riddle. You need to show the people something more. Don't make the heart shiver when fear's driven and end up losing days. But I'ma make it, yeah. Youth's born for greatness, yeah. For you see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. You know see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. So tell Santa him can stop it or you from.
Welcome again to Studio Galaxy 473 in Confero. This is the second part of our program, and we have with us today Joshua. Well, we will wait and see if our other guests will join us. And you know, on Saturday, the second part of the program, we put a lot of emphasis on policies. And when you say policy, it's tantamount to politics. We in the Caribbean, the topic we're discussing today is, we in the Caribbean must come to the realization that we live in the hurricane belt. We have to survive, strive, and develop, irrespective of hurricane and no hurricane. We cannot continue to be cry babies every time a hurricane strikes. Joshua, we live in the hurricane belt. The type of economy that we have is a fragile one that hurricane could destroy. And once you know your problem, half your problem solved. Yes. We have to react. We have to rise to the occasion. We can't continue to be cry babies, Joshua.
Yeah, we have to plan our economy in a way that it is resilient to hurricane. And as you say, we can, or the title says, so that we can strive and develop. And I think, the international agency, the IMF report, I remember it saying that our economy was too one-sided, skewed towards tourism, and there must be a more balanced economy. I think at one point, services or tourism accounted for 87% of our GDP. So that in itself is way too unbalanced, really. I think how we do things, how we build our economy really has to be re-looked at. And how we build our houses, we've said that over and over, has to be looked at. And we know that we can do better. One of the images that comes to mind is when you have a hurricane in Bangladesh, as much as 300,000 people have been lost in the past. 300,000. That is 3 Grenada dead, and when you have a hurricane in California, you might be unfortunate if you have 1 dead. So there's a difference in terms of preparedness, in terms of building material, in terms of preparedness to face the hurricane. Why is it in one part of the world only 1 person might die, and in another part 300,000 would die? What is it? And it has to be to do with how we prepare and plan for the areas that we're living in. Now, Grenada is part of the hurricane belt, and if we haven't taken the hurricane seriously before, because I think the last time people were saying, God is a Grenadian because we only get a disaster once every 50 odd years. Now it looks as the cycle has changed because it's only 20 years ago, I think, we had a major hurricane 20 years later. So are we moving to every 10 years and then every 5 years and then that's it? But I think in all seriousness, all the different parts of how we build our society has to be revisited with hurricane in mind. How we grow our farms, how we plant our farms has to be redesigned, revisited. We have to look at the windbreaks, how we position them, whether windbreaks can mitigate the protection of our farm by 30%, 20%, 50%. We have to look at all of that, and we have to put those things in place now. The materials that we use in terms of our farms have to be looked at. Do we use, ties, coconut ties, or do we use nails? Do we use screws? Do we use other hurricane resistant materials? All of that has to be looked at, and it has to be part of the standardization in terms of our building code as we move forward and we build. If we haven't taken it seriously before, there is no option left but to take it seriously. How we build our coastal areas where we let people live. I know in the past, government have done their part in trying getting people off, as in Subi's, right on the water. I know it's nice living underwater, but it's also very, very, dangerous and unsafe, and all the emergency service have to be prepared to rescue people from there. So we have to acknowledge that we're in the hurricane belt. We have to acknowledge that the hurricane will hit us in a matter of days. And we have to plan and build better. We have to have food storage facilities that we can last, a 3 months or so without having to import any food from abroad. We really have to take a different approach. Start thinking outside the box. Start thinking, how can we be resilient? And then we have to do practice runs. We have to say, okay, on Saturday, the 10th of January, we have in a hurricane run. We want everybody to be prepared. That will be a state of emergency day. And just to see how we respond, how we do, and the food that we have stored away for 3 months or so, how we distribute it and use it and replenish it, how we use the natural foods that we grow here to sustain our population. So we have to take this more seriously than we've taken it in the past, on all facets. Do we have galvanized roofs or do we have concrete roofs? I've seen a few concrete roofs in Grenada. And is that the new normal, concrete roofs, or do we still stick with the galvanized roofs? All of that we need to think hard about. And maybe what we can do in conjunction with the private sector and government is, how do we build a hurricane-proof house that's economical, that's affordable, that people want to live in? How do we do that? Is that possible? Is it affordable to be able to do that? But I think, given that we've been to the moon and back, I don't think these challenges are insurmountable. I think we just haven't put our minds to it. And I think the old psychology that we talk about on the program before, waiting for some kind of knight in shining armor to come and do it for us or rescue us, I think that mentality still prevails. We have to get on and experiment and do those things. And it has to be supported by the private sector as well as government, because it's clear that the way we build in houses and the way that we live in makes us fragile. So it's time to, think outside of the box. It's time for us to, use our brain to build and to do better as we move forward.
Yes, definitely. The question is, we live in the hurricane belt. We expect hurricane with greater realities, greater regularities.
Mm-hmm.
We have to prepare to survive, to exist, to thrive, and to continue our economic development irrespective of the hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
Too much of our houses are collapsing. You could just look at the house and see it was badly built.
Mm-hmm.
And then we turn in a frenzy for food, as if it's a romantic thing. Food, 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 they bring food. And you see sometimes the worst of our people when food sharing.
Mm-hmm.
We have to do better.
Mm-hmm.
From Barbados, Jamaica, throughout the whole Caribbean, our economies, because we are small, are principally based on agriculture, tourism, educational services. I think it's education services, remuneration from overseas.
Yeah, we have SGU education. That is
SGU in Grenada contribute more than 20% of our GDP.
I think it's about 25%. Yeah.
Barbados have the University of the West Indies and Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
So we have bright people in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why most of our certificated people seems to lack the ability to practicalize the certification. We have to challenge it. If you're bright, stop saying you're bright. Show us you're bright.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Make a difference in the society.
Yes, I
What do you call the people who build houses? Architects?
Yeah, architects are the one who design, and structural surveyors.
You have a lot of names. We just used to say builders. But as you go up the ladder, the language they use is so sophisticated that it's no longer palatable.
Mm-hmm.
They have to come up with modules, right word?
Yeah,
modules that could withstand the average hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
And we consider average hurricane category 3, category 4.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We must not have all these extensive damages after category 3 or category 4 hurricane pass without significant flooding.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfair.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have much landslides in Grenada like other countries that would cause loss of life. We don't have much flooding. Well, Dominica, everybody live in the river belt. Barbados is relatively flat. We don't have the expect much deaths from flooding in Grenada. We have too much of our houses breaking up like creeks. We have to do better.
Yes, I agree. And the way we build our houses with the trees, the relationship with houses and trees has to be looked at seriously, because I used to think romantically, oh, I want the house built under the tree, not realizing that we're in the hurricane belt and that tree will finish the house when the hurricane comes.
You could climb up on the tree and watch your wife in the window while she's cooking. That must be very romantic. But the tree go fall down on your house. So even if you have trees around your house, the trees have to be ornamentals.
Yes.
You cut the tree at a certain height.
Yes.
You got to be practical.
Yes.
We
Yes.
cannot be walking around with a briefcase, a certificate,
Yeah.
and a bag of problem.
Yeah.
Unacceptable. We have to do better. When you build a house, don't use nail. Gates, I only learned that today.
Yeah.
Gates tell me one screw stronger than 10 nails. He say one screw stronger than 10 nails. We have to discontinue the practice of nails. When I in the rum shop, most of them rummers now, they say you have to put screw in the seat. Because when we drink rum and we jumping up on the seat, the nail coming up. So they say put screws. Rummers has learned quick. So we have to change the habit of using screws. Better government put tax on nails and remove all the taxes on screws. Make screws cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea.
We have to be practical. We can't continue this level of sophistication. We sit down, we want to speak more grammar than Paul Schoon.
Yeah.
And we building some little house, they fragile as cricks. Unacceptable.
Yeah.
If you build a ply house for 30, 40,000, and when hurricane come, he mash up the ply house, although you did everything possible, you just go and build the next one. You can't afford to build houses for $350,000, $400,000 and hurricane mashing it up. That is a joke.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a little ply house in Moya. I was there during the week. 25,000, and it wasn't touched.
Hurricane can't do it nothing.
Oh.
They use screws.
Yeah.
They use hurricane clip. They bolt it down from the pillars.
Yeah, and the occupier of the house told me all he did was open the front window and open the back window so that the air could pass through.
He's ambitious.
He says it came in and it went
He said
out.
the wind coming.
Yeah.
But we have to be innovative. We cannot continue like that. I don't know who are the stakeholders that we must, or maybe we just have to continue talking.
We have to talk, encourage, and we have to hope that the regulators put in better regulation to protect the people who don't want to protect themselves, And as you were saying, we have to look at incentives, because incentives, certainly motivates people to do the right thing. But the reality is, as you said, we're in the hurricane belt. Unless you're planning to move out of Grenada, you're in the hurricane belt. And it appears as though hurricanes are becoming more frequent. I haven't looked at the hurricane data in terms of how frequently it hits the Caribbean, but it feels as though it's more frequent than before, because I come from the generation of Janet, where my father and mother left Grenada because, Janet had hit them hard, and they wanted a better opportunity somewhere else, and they got the chance to go to England, and they went.
As you said, Janet, we have the Janet houses
Yes.
that came after 1955. Hurricane after hurricane, the Janet house solid as a rock.
Yeah. My grandfather had a Janet house, and I was so disappointed when I heard they pulled it down.
We have a Janet house in the yard.
Yeah.
The Janet house, hurricane after hurricane, the Janet house solid as a rock.
Yeah.
Maybe we have to go back
and
look at how it was built.
Yeah.
And be like that.
Yeah.
And there's no screws in the Janet house. We are doing something wrong. If you continue to do the same thing, you're likely to get the same result.
Mm-hmm.
Whether in Barbados, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, Jamaica, we all live in the hurricane belt. We can't be cry babies. It's practically embarrassing. Every time a hurricane comes, we in the Caribbean like helpless cry baby. And 80% of our houses fall. And you're certain next hurricane, 80% of the houses falling again.
Yeah, especially the roofs.
All the houses are de-roofed.
Yeah.
In when we had Ivan, a man made a party and he announced it topless. Topless.
Topless party.
If you see man in the party, if you see woman in the party, everybody want to go to a topless party. But when they reach here, they realize no roof.
Yeah.
Big dance hall, no roof. So they came to a topless party.
Yeah.
Whether we are in Jamaica, I think the Caribbean heads of government should be discussing what we need to do in the Caribbean to make certain we don't end up cry baby every time a hurricane hits the Caribbean.
Yeah, the Caribbean heads of government are coming to Grenada soon, are they not? I think around about the 20-something, they're due to be in Grenada. Our PM is hosting them, and he's the new chair of CARICOM, I believe. Ishamali hands over to him.
Every 6 months is a rotating.
Yeah, it's a rotating head. Yeah.
They need to put that on the agenda because we depend on tourism. After a hurricane, your economy could crash.
Yeah.
Tourism, well, remuneration from away, unless you people get fed up with you. In the next 40, 50 years, we may not have remuneration because black people not making children. And those that
Mr.
go
Pierre,
away.
where you come out with this now?
Well, the black woman starting to have children, the latest out of Africa.
The professional black
in
women.
all group. Because you see some black women, 35 years they studied. By the time they're ready to make a child, they have to have a sledgehammer and a cold chisel. Past the age. So they are not having children readily. And when they travel, they're taking all the children with them.
Right.
So there is no need to send back remuneration.
Right.
Unless the man have a girlfriend here.
Okay.
So you would likely possibly see in the next 20 odd years less remuneration coming to the Caribbean. In addition to that, a country like Grenada is a buyer's paradise. So you expect to see more foreigners owning property in Grenada. Because as people become incapacitated or old or dead, their children is not as productive as them. So those big houses, they don't have money to maintain it. They go sell it and buy a car. Based upon the statistics in Grenada,
backward economics.
over 58,000 vehicles, 110,000 people. So most likely, because a lot of sales is done on the internet, they're using technology. And our people, middle class, is shrinking. The farmers becoming the new poor on the block.
Okay.
We don't have big families. Men afraid to marry. The reality is we're getting poorer. So we will be selling assets.
Yeah, I saw some stats not too long ago that was saying up to 50% of the Grenadian population were either poor or on the verge of becoming poor. And I think that stats was from the CIA. The CIA, people don't know, are one of the premier, if not the premier, information gathering source in the world. So they have data on all countries, and they update it, regularly. So I think that came from the CIA stats. That
So what I'm saying is tobacco well pressed.
hmm?
What I'm saying is tobacco well pressed.
Oh,
That is the statistics from the rum shop.
yeah.
When we're discussing the issue as we watch going on, we realize Grenadians are getting poorer. But they believe they're rich. So you see two
Rich in
young
spirit.
people with one another, none of them making $3,000 a month. One might be a teacher, one is a police, agriculture officer, supermarket worker. Both of them have a car. Then they're buying $10 gas. They're packing up the vehicle and taking bus to go.
Yeah.
And they're pretending they're rich.
Yeah.
They are the new poor on the block.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't know yet.
Yeah.
They think they're rich. And the farmers who have lost the source of income, if we don't have a Marshall Plan for them, they will be joining the new poor on the block.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of money when we transitioning. Big coffins. Because it's the last attempt to show off. So we are the new poor on the block. We have the most home for the age in the Caribbean. And 70% of our children not doing well in school. So they cannot hold big jobs. The menial jobs they will hold. And they don't want agriculture.
We're on a downward spiral.
We're in trouble with capital T. Mr. X will tell you, licks it. And Scholar will tell you, open your business. We're in trouble like capital T. And you know what is sad? We don't want to face the truth. Against that background, the Caribbean leaders have to recognize we live in the hurricane belt. We will have hurricane likely with greater regularities. But we mustn't crumble. We have the education. We must find ways to build our houses stronger.
And also looking at the institutions like insurance companies, national disaster relief funds, and we must pay our premiums so that when this hurricane comes, if we are unlucky enough to be hit.
Look at our buses in Grenada. We have over 500 buses in Grenada. I think. Somebody, the number to call is 410-3030. When you hear we speak in Grenada politics, people calling us. Once you hear it is not straight politics, whether we attacking Dick or not, people not calling us. This is Caribbean politics. The Caribbean heads of government will be in Grenada. And we are advocating that they put on their agenda discussing that we live in the hurricane belt. Hurricane will come with greater regularity. So we must continue to make economic development with minimal setbacks from hurricane. One of the things we have to look at is our housing. And our next one is insurance. We have over 500 buses in Grenada. And I ask the question repeatedly, why the busmen don't open their own insurance company?
You make a good point. I did the same thing with the Poultry Association. When I joined the association, I said, why are farmers buying chicks from other people? Why don't they bring it in for themselves and sell it to themselves? Very, very simple, but you make an excellent point there.
Well, yeah. If you have 500 buses and they open their own insurance company, they may have to say, okay, we have to take a 2 years grace when we had to Dublin show. And then we lobby the government of Grenada to join with company. Because government have a lot of buses too, a lot of vehicles. And your private vehicles in your company. Now, why? And it could be done. If you don't know how to do it, go and ask Vira McQueen and Clarice Charles. They have teachers have their own insurance company involved in, I think, health or social insurance company, whatever.
Okay.
So different modules. We don't have to wait on Lloyd's of London. We could reinsure with them. We don't have to wait on England, America, and China. We could do it ourselves. We have people with the certification, but bright people afraid, you know. Bright people very good.
Yeah.
One of the challenges we have,
the risk averse.
They say that's why a lot of bright people has been in the Democratic Party. They're caught. They don't take risk.
Yeah.
They're afraid to make children. They're afraid to go dead. They're afraid to go in business. They're afraid.
They're afraid.
The conservatives tend to take more risk. And the conservatives are somebody, perhaps older people, you know, they hold it tight.
Yeah.
But we have to address the challenges in Grenada and the Caribbean. The problems we have in Grenada is similar to Dominica, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Barbados, the whole OECS, because we're small. A simple thing as the buses in Grenada, the busmen, all of you paying insurance. You have over 500 buses. You have a guarantee market. Why can't you have your own insurance company? You might have to have a 2 years grace period when you double insure. But the statisticians are the actuaries.
Actuaries.
Yes, these are sophisticated language. It's beyond my academic qualification. But we could do it for ourselves. Who knows? The farmers might join you because the bossman, the farmer, the teacher, all of us, family pig, one and the same. Why can the bosses, as soon as you attempt to do that, all insurance premium in Grenada dropping?
Yeah. Boss for less.
Boss for less. You know, why can't we change the dynamics? Why the architects cannot say, use screws, don't use nail? Why the government of Grenada and Barbados and Dominica and Jamaica and St. Vincent and the whole OECS don't say, raise the taxes on nails and drop the price on screws? What happened to us? We want the European to come and tell us that.
Yeah.
And then we blaming the Europeans now for putting us in slavery. And we sold the slaves. A lot of men don't want to understand that. We sold us. And then we blaming them that buy.
Yeah.
And you could give us a call. I mean, we welcome discussion on that topic. 410-3030.
Yeah, and Mr. Pierre, it dawned on me, the schools as well, needs to be built in a way that they're hurricane-proof, that the children could continue getting their education, once the hurricane has passed. But it seems to me sometimes certain sector, is closed down unnecessarily for a long period of time. And I think, especially education, once the time is past, it's very difficult to keep the children in school. So if they're supposed to graduate at 16 and they missed out a year, very difficult to keep them in school for another year. And these things have to be taken into consideration as well in terms of the hurricane belt.
You don't believe some of those educators glad. Every excuse they could get for
Yeah.
children not to go in school. They're glad.
Yeah.
You can agree with that. That's trouble.
Well.
I am convinced every excuse they get after this hurricane, some of them feel they should wait till just the holiday. Why they will give holiday one time?
Yeah.
I hear some people saying cancel carnival. You know. I ask him, man, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
I said, why you want to do that? He tell me hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
I said, it's to give you 12 strokes. So you want the country to go on hold because of hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
And people starting to beg.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't have to wait on help to build your house.
Mm-hmm.
You have money, build your house.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a cry baby mentality. And that is from the leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So the Caribbean heads of government will be taking place in Grenada.
Mm-hmm.
And we are provoking discussion.
Yeah, I know. I believe it's this month. I believe it was supposed to happen already, but it was delayed because of Beryl. So I think it's towards the end of the month. It should be happening. And it'll be interesting to hear what comes out of it.
These Caribbean leaders must be prepared to solve our problems. Not the Europeans, not the Americans, not the Chinese. The Chinese don't meddle with you politics. They don't meddle with your religion. They don't meddle with your faith. The Chinese come in Grenada, Jamaica, and the Caribbean with a 1,000-year plan. They don't want to watch you in your eyes when they're talking. They're not. You ever hear a Chinese dead? When last you hear a Chinese dead in Grenada? They're not your business. They're not telling you. They come with a plan. And nothing is wrong with that. They invented diplomacy. Our people must mind your business. We live in the hurricane belt. Hurricane is a staple. We expect hurricane between June and October. We used to say September, remember, all over. But you're all over in September. So we must be prepared to build our houses so we have minimal damage when hurricane comes.
All our structures, yeah.
The government of Grenada must take the lead. But I don't blame in government because our people deserve the government they have. If you want bad government, you're going to get it. Just as Barbados, Jamaica, all over the Caribbean. We have to discontinue the practice of nails. The gentleman tell me one screw is stronger than 10 nails. We have to use hurricane clips in our house. We have to prepare to use proper joints. We have to prepare to tie down joints and rafters and lats. We have to do that. If you're building a house for $250,000 and above, you should have a storage tank, even if it is under your step. So, within 1 week after Hurricane Grenada, say they're hungry and starving. That's a joke. A hungry, some people smell like a whale. They say they're hungry. This is laughable. And we have the intelligentsia. We have the architects. We have quantity surveyors. We have engineers. We have the University of the West Indies. And we have some scratching. Yeah. We have PhDs. We have highly intelligent people. They have to prepare to come up with answers.
I think sometimes, it's easier for them to buy a ticket and fly out. I think, that's what I think. They purchase a ticket, take their children, and they're gone.
Most of the bright people go to New York on holiday. They say my children is stressed out. I don't want my children to get involved in the rebuilding. Instead of getting your children involved, getting them to help the neighbor, getting you young boys to go and help Miss Mary to go in the shelter. The parents' concern. Oh, my child is traumatized. I got to go to New York. How are we going to solve the problems in our country? If at the slightest ripple, we run.
Yeah.
And we encapsulate yourself.
Yeah, a lot of political commentators have said that the leadership in the Caribbean has not been up to the standard that would make a difference to the people of the Caribbean. It hasn't been very good. How true that is, I don't know, but it always seems like the Caribbean is struggling, and they always compare and contrast that with Singapore and the Singapore experience and the method they use. And, I remember reading extracts from the Singapore prime minister at the time, and what he was saying was that, he basically had to use the asset that he had, whereas he mentioned Michael Manley, and what he was saying was that they were ideologues, they believed in ideology rather than the practical way forward, how to uplift their people and how to make their quality of life much better. So, leadership has a big role to play in terms of what happens to the Caribbean. The caliber of leaders that we have, play a major role in terms of developing the island. We in Grenada having just gone through Beryl, and I think there's initially people feel happy because there's funds coming from different international agencies. There's funds coming from insurance, etc., and it feels like a buzz, money for nothing. But that money, as big as it sounds, does not last very long. So how do we, not only build better and stronger sustainable housing, but how do we, develop a sustainable economy as well as a sustainable housing sector or business sector or model of trade in terms of living in such a challenging region. We're in the hurricane belt.
Well, you had Lee Kuan Yew. I think this was the one that said, don't be like the Caribbean people. They produce nothing. They consume everything. Every day, they're celebrating and drinking.
Oh.
Nobody in the Caribbean challenging. Today in Grenada, we have jab jab. And nothing is wrong with playing jab jab. But I am convinced that the majority of players of jab jab turn jab jab.
Yeah.
They're no longer playing jab jab.
They turn jab.
They turn jab.
Yeah.
They had 2 days when they free up. They cuss, they use bad word, they behave naughty, very revealing. No, that is permanent.
Yeah.
They're playing jab jab about 52 times for the year.
Yeah.
When I did my research, since June come, jab.
The jab
They
don't
bathe
care.
in their body with oil oil. They eating with it. And they hardly want to put on clothes. They're whining like plain. And those women don't want clothes.
Jab don't care.
And I believe they turn jab. Jab don't care, jab don't care.
Yeah.
They're cussing your mother. The mother cussing mother. Children cussing everybody. Word said it.
Yeah, the jab don't care.
Well, even the prime minister and all, might fire too strong words.
The Prime Minister
We-
does a job, doesn't he?
We have to change. We should be discussing in national college and secondary schools. What could we do to prevent our houses from crumbling? Yes, scholar, welcome. Yes, scholar, welcome. You're live.
Mr. Pierre, man, I must compliment you, man. I've been listening to a program by you was with us the day before. And I listen to you this morning too. You and Joshua in a program. Because I'm still in the States, sir.
Okay. Yes, my brother.
I'm still in the States.
Yeah. We on it again. You're live on us.
Yeah, your program this morning was good too, because I mean, and see, you talk about the farmers, for instance. Remember, my last hope was in not mega planting,
Yeah.
and I even come and they were giving, and you're correct, you know. You're correct. I 70. I mean, I'm here, Charlie. You think I go and plant that mega again? After when I eventually I'm going to have, I planted. Now they start being the rest fall down. Man tell me about 50% of them not whatever I plant for them. And I young not make trees. About 50%. The other about 50 trees probably 25. You know. But you're correct, and I like the analysis you do. We state that the Nutmeg Association should come to some kind of rescue to assist the farmers within the period when they are not in the fall too.
Yeah.
You know. So, and the aspect of a percentage is a good suggestion, but I suppose because they come from you, they mightn't take it seriously.
No, don't bother me, man.
Yeah. No, but it's a good suggestion. I mean, whether it sound political or not, and that is sounding political, it's sounding realistic because it's for everybody.
And then no one get no money because I didn't pick up nothing.
Well, I also say that. I also say you don't pick up nothing.
I didn't pick up.
But the program is for us was a good program.
Yeah.
But I mean, whether this cover anything happen is he might be a good man. He might be a good man to have a committee for the revival of the agriculture section in the country. But if you get to take, they're going to take it. They're taking out that set up for us.
No.
The degree.
Man, you're mad. They put me wrong that they're crazy. They don't do that.
No. They're looking for them in the degree and thing. But I don't always tell men, you know. I don't know degree. I know bachelor's or nothing. But I am very knowledgeable like a lot of people. I mean, with the bachelor's and masters are not because I'm the girl.
Yeah.
You know. And a lot of things are just learned by over the ODS by process, just by the practical experience. Yeah. Well, I didn't ask you how the hurricane treat you, man. It should have been not back.
Well, you know the hurricane don't do like farmers.
But I realize that you're correct about that.
And I just established our 2 to 3 acres of land in fencing for sheep. And the hurricane mash up all the place.
I might told me how that
And it showed on the barn, the young barn and blogger. You don't like farmers.
Yeah.
Like,
And then not big degree nutmeg.
I had some nutmeg, but I didn't pick up nutmeg. So
what are the trees? What are them trees?
I had over 50. Well, the hurricane take out some again. He mash up some of them. Yeah. Because it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
When you pay to pick it up, and particularly now that the minimum wage move up, you can't bother with some of them. So that is challenging.
We're gonna buy anyway. We're gonna buy.
Yes, my brother.
Connection.
All right, thank you very much for calling.
I ain't good at one time, but I ain't right.
Yeah, the internet is breaking up. Yo, thank you very much.
I know what happened there because I'll pay about 6 now. You know?
Yeah, I know.
When I come up with a spend, no, more than 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And I still had to spend another 4 weeks open again.
Thank you. The caller is calling from the States, but we started to break up. And it's a good story because he's a nutmeg farmer. He's a hero. A man who have given thousands of hours in, you ever call it a lie? Thousands of hours in, yes, you come back. Yes, you're breaking up.
Yeah, we got cut off. I think the internet.
Yeah,
but let me ask you something. Yeah. Before we continue, that thing ready by now? The thing I see supposed to do.
Yeah. That ready. Yeah.
All right,
ready.
because
You ready? We go talk about it otherwise because you're live. Okay. Yes. So that farmer is a typical farmer like what you spoke about. And if you don't have a program, if there is no income for that farmer, you go touch back nutmeg again. And we have to be able to solve our problem. Our people and the Caribbean heads of government is the right place to start. And they are our leaders.
Yeah,
They are the
make
shepherd.
policy.
The Nutmeg Association supposed to lobby in the Caribbean leaders. The trade union movement, oh God, lobby the Caribbean leaders. That we could do better. Our houses don't have to crumble like that. Carriacou is a place where the people in Carriacou are very independent. They seem to have a lot of money. A lot of them have done very well.
Yes.
They are properly backed by remuneration. A lot of the Carriacouians come back and build nice houses.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for it to be crumble like that, it means they did not build properly. How could we continue like that? We have to use screws. We have to build our houses better. Sometimes it's better to build smaller houses that is stronger. Joshua, we got to.
No, I agree with you. We have to do better. We have to take this a lot more serious than we've taken it before. And we have to, create a situation whereby everything that we need for living day to day takes into account the impact of natural disasters. There's no doubt about it. It's more frequent. So we have to take it serious. And as you say, we can't ignore it. And when it comes, start crying. That doesn't work. We really, really have to put some effort into this. And we really have to come up with solutions that are workable, that makes good sense, because we have such a high dependency on tourism. I think 80-odd%, 87%. And then the hurricane season is terrible anyway, because most tourists will not come to the Caribbean during the hurricane season. And those that are here at the hotels will flee as quickly as they can, which means that the hotels have no guests, but they have staff. The farmers can't sell their products to the hotel because there's nobody to consume them. And we're left in a conundrum.
Yes.
And
we have to do better.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, the old people used to say, you don't know a man if he is not in the presence of free food and free drink. Now this hurricane takes its place, and you expect ton load of food to come. And then sometimes you watch the character, the habit, the display of people in the presence of free food and free drink. Forbes Bonham beg Caribbean leaders, grow what you eat and eat what you grow.
Yeah.
They laugh him to scorn. Not even the University of the West Indies support Bonham. Bonham say Guyana could be the bread basket in the Caribbean. You call that next leader. There's a good one in Guyana. Can't remember his name now. You come. He offered Caribbean leaders land. He said, buy land in Guyana. Only want Guyana to provide food for you all. Guyana don't have the liquidity. Buy land in Guyana. Land selling cheap. Caribbean islands laugh him to scorn. If Grenada invests a couple million in land in Guyana, Sometimes, you know what it is now? We have to solve our problem. What do you think we Caribbean leaders doing? We export nurses. The trade union in Grenada, everything, supporting nurses to go to England. After Grenada trained them, and they reach about 35 years, they leave their money, they leave children here, and they go in England. Or young men gone in the British Army.
Yeah.
How you going to develop your country?
Yeah.
And those who bright abandon the village. How are we going to develop the country? And then every disaster, cry, baby. So we have to solve our problems. We have to remember that the problems in Grenada is similar to what goes on in Barbados, Jamaica, and other countries. Our economy is based upon agriculture, tourism, education and services, hotel, etc., and remuneration. Remuneration go dry up. We're not making children, and when we go away, we're taking all with children. So we're done with Grenada. And Grenada become a buyer's paradise. So the foreigners moving in. Even if we leave homes here, most of our children unproductive. So they can't maintain the home. So they go sell it and buy a car. We have 58,000 vehicles. 3 people in a home, they have 2 cars. They can't buy gas. $10 gas.
Yeah.
They can't maintain the car. They're parking up the car and take bus. But the car is a show-off status in the community. Look at some ministers. The business fail. First opportunity they get, they buy expensive car. It's a mentality.
I think the ministers is the incentive they get to buy an expensive car. So when they get the incentive and they're not sure whether they're going to be back, they're going to take all the incentive they can because, they didn't probably even expect to be a minister.
Come and get. You call that dinner spec come and get. And they left with a burden. Because an expensive car is expensive parts. And when the mechanic see an expensive car, he increase the fee by about 200%. How are you going to maintain it? That is what is facing us. And we have 70% of the children that exit our schools are not prepared for the job market. So they cannot hold high end of the scale jobs. And not only in Grenada, when I say that all Grenadian educators vex with me, we might be better than Jamaica. Barbados in trouble with that too. Dominican, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, the whole Caribbean. That is our reality. So we have the Caribbean heads of government here. We principally speak to provoke discussion. And that part of the program is share politics. Because politics is about policies. And the situation in the Caribbean is similar. So we want the Caribbean heads of government to discuss the issue. That we live in the Caribbean and hurricanes are part of the stable. It's a part of life. It's going to come with greater regularity. We can't afford to be cry baby. And the percentage of our houses, our structures, our fall cube, our pig pen that is being destroyed is a disgrace. So we must address it. We want you to share our program. We want you to participate in the discussion in the rum shop anyway. We encourage the intellectuals. We challenge them. We dare them to take them on. Most of our intellectuals are commission agents for the multinational agencies in the multinational corporation. They are not thinkers. They regurgitate. Bright people must think. and come up with solution.
Yeah, and all the agents for the CBI program, I think they should get together and, make a donation to the elderly homes, because they've been very fortunate in terms of the commissions that they've received from as agents from their clients. So I'm sure they can afford to assist the elderly homes. Mm.
I say to them, man, don't worry. You ending up in a home too. Most of our intelligentsia and successful people, they must go in home. They don't know children. They have a big house. They have money, but not enough to pay butler and maid. As soon as they reach 60 plus, the house become a prison for them. They could pay maid and butler, and by that time they eat so much food they smell like a whale. Who go raise them? They gotta go in a home. So don't help the home, you go pay for it.
Yeah.
But this is our program, and remember, we are Galaxy Equalizers. We provoke discussion, and we speak in a manner we believe is most impactful. Once again, we want to thank Joshua. Joshua was forced to stay on in this program, and our two technicians, Devante, our new kid on the block, Elisa. Elisa just from college. So we do hope she'll be able to help these old people and them.
Yes, very
as we
much so.
express ourselves.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Say whoa, 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 whoa. Say whoa, 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 whoa. Ready now, me ready now. A time to share, a time to care, a time to happy. But the whole year just went and you forgot it. Too much disguising on your love. I know I come tell the eye about Merry Christmas. Lord, you need to give a little. You get your riddle. You need to show the people something more. Don't make the heart shiver when fear is driven and end up losing it. But I'm a man.